Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime Symbol, and today I'm going to be giving you a brand new episode, part 3 of What If Naruto Was a Ruthless Prodigy that had the end Kurama, guys. Remember to get this one too 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episodes over the other channels if you're new. Yes, that's correct. I indeed have 3 more channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down there, so go ahead, check them out, and yeah, enjoy. So without further ado or wasting more time, don't forget to turn on the bell notification. Let's jump right into this brand new episode, shall we? Let's begin now, guys. So the last part that we left off, Naruto's words affected Sakura greater than she could ever have hoped to believe. His words affected her so greatly as she started to look back at her life. What was the point of her becoming a kunoichi? Was she really going to die out there? She thought about it. Because she was too weak. While she was going through that, Naruto faced off against Kakashi Hatake. There was nothing on Naruto's file that would suggest that he was anything special, and that was a problem. The copy ninja was almost killed, and he almost took Naruto out, because the mere instinct and notion that came from Naruto sent him spiraling. No child should have that amount of killer intent. He felt like he was on a battlefield surrounded by nothing but enemies. That is when Naruto showed off how advanced he was in several advanced techniques, not to mention Fuinjutsu explosive. There was a lot of it. Kakashi actually got caught off guard, to the point that he got hurt. This was rather shocking given his status, and given that he's facing off against a child. However, Naruto got to work as he was using everything at his disposal. Kakashi was able to escape as Naruto created an explosion that triggered a whole lot of consequences. Anvus and ninja arrived, believing that the village was under attack. However, Kakashi was able to speak to them. Throughout the chaos, Naruto had stolen the bells. He had a plan as he made his way. When he faced Sakura, she realized he had the bells, and there was no way that he was going to choose her. However, in that moment, she finally understood what it meant. What it meant to actually be a kunoichi, and her words caught Naruto off guard as he threw her a bell. She was surprised, but he did not say much after that. He gave Sasuke a bell as well. When Kakashi came back, Naruto chose to give up, as it was all a part of his plan. The other two decided to join him, as they didn't know that his plan was to do this. Kakashi saw it right there and then, and passed each and every one of them. He then told them a very important life lesson on how one should treat their comrades. Later that day, Hiruzen and Kakashi were in for a rude awakening as Naruto exposed the seals that were on him, suppression seals and weighted seals as well. Hiruzen realized that he dropped the ball, having no idea that Naruto was this, smart and advanced for his age. The boy was on a completely different level, able to master 2A rank techniques already. It was truly shocking as he never expected that in the slightest. As the following months passed by, they also realized that not only was Naruto proficient in several other fighting styles, however, he possessed every single chakra nature. No one in history has ever done that. Not even Hiruzen he learned the rest of them as he grew, but Naruto, he had the affinity for every single one of them. The boy was a prodigy amongst prodigy, as Harrison still couldn't believe that he dropped the ball on this. However, he was a bit concerned that Naruto did not reach this far on his own, trying to allegate some information on what was going on, but Naruto was like a brick wall most times. There wasn't much you can get from him without insinuating that he was an enemy or a threat. Team 7 was finally given a high rank mission. So far, Team 7 has been going good with Sasuke and Naruto being good friends, and Sakura, she was trying to overcome her fangirl stage and prove that she was a good kunoichi, not just because of Naruto's words or her appearance, but to herself. They came across the Demon Brothers, who made a mistake believing that they were going up against children, as Naruto ended their life rather easily, using their chance of underestimating him against them. He cut them down without hesitation, ending them right there, as Sakura was a bit green, as she still wasn't used to the thought of killing despite being a kunoichi. As they decided to continue on Naruto, not understanding why after all, the man did lie about the mission, but Kakashi made them continue on believing that this was something good for Naruto to learn, that not everyone was horrible, and not everything need to go by the rules for certain situations, because all he could see right now looking at Naruto was a root agent. They came across Zabuza Momochi, which led to another battle. Kakashi got captured as the three worked together. They were able to free him, but the next moment they collapsed. Naruto thought that they were dead, but soon come to realize that the hunter did not kill them, but subdued them with senbon needles. As Kakashi was able to find out that they were alive, awakening Naruto from a strange trance when he thought his comrades were dead, as something just seemed to take over him. So yeah guys, basically let's play it off. You guys can switch across and please check that for yourself, and also don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. Let's begin now guys. 2 days. That was how long they've been here for now. At the moment, Naruto was situated within a forest nearby, as he was seated under a tree. Sakura and Sasuke had recovered, however, they were still weak. What the hunter nin did to them, it placed their body into a state that was close to death, shutting down their nerve and their system. It will take a while for them to get back to their full strength, but fortunately, not too long. As Naruto sat where he was confused. And that wasn't something that he experienced often, but when he saw Sakura and Sasuke down, when he thought they were dead, something happened to him. Something that he couldn't quite place. Naruto gaze narrowed as someone entered on the field. He was out here training alone, practicing a few things away from the house. A few things that Kakashi would probably not approve because of how dangerous they were. As he noticed what seemed to be a woman making her way, a basket in her hand. Immediately, Naruto's body tensed up as he could feel it. It was the same sensation, whoever this person was. They were the one. Naruto lay there as he closed his eyes. Meanwhile, Haku arrived on the field with the sole intention of gathering herbs. When his eyes laid on someone, immediately he recognized who it was. However, he doubted this person would recognize him. However, during the match, he could tell that this boy was more ruthless than the others. He was also more calm, focused and calculated. This is what Zabuza would call a real ninja, despite his young age. However, he was fully unaware of what was going on. This was his chance. As the boy was sleeping, he could end his life right here and now and spare Zabuza-sama some trouble. As he approaching, he reached down to grab the boy's neck. However, instead he placed a hand on his shoulder. And that was his mistake. Naruto grabbed the hand. In the split second that Haku allowed his guard to drop, Naruto grabbed his hand and pulled him and grabbed his face. He kicked his leg away as he slammed his face into the ground. Now, pinning him down, Naruto bent his hand behind him as he held him there. What are you doing? Haku said, still trying to play his role. Don't bother, said Naruto. I'm a censor. Haku eyes narrowed dangerously as he tried to exert enough force to break free. However, he found himself unable to, as Naruto placed his knee down on him and bent his hand, causing Haku to squirm. Make another move, and I'll hurt you, said Naruto. His tone as cool as ever. I'll ask you once, where is Zabuza? Haku chose to remain quiet, thinking of a way to escape. Answer me, said Naruto. However, Haku still remained quiet, until he released a bone-chilling scream when Naruto snapped his hand without hesitation. Haku tried to bite back the scream, but the pain was just so sudden and so much at once, as Naruto kept on applying pressure. I'm gonna ask you once more. Where is Zabuza? Naruto asks. He flipped Haku over as he held him down by slamming his one remaining hand down on the ground. He looked him directly in the eyes. Speak. However, Haku kept his mouth shut, refusing to relinquish any information, as he would never allow anyone to hurt his master. You're not going to talk, Naruto said, as his head started to tilt to the right. Looking down at Haku's pain expression, it caused him to remember what happened when he thought that Sakura and Sasuke died. The next moment, Naruto didn't know what happened. Snap out of it, kid! It was the voice of Kurama that roared, waking Naruto up. Naruto blinked and looked down at his hands that were soaked in blood. Haku's face was a mess, bloody and bashed, leaking from his nose, his shattered broken nose, his mouth and eyes swollen. He was unconscious. Naruto fell back, confusion written across his face. What happened? You blacked out, just like what was going to happen before, but this time, it got worse, Kurama said, as Naruto looked down toward his hand, his knuckles red and bloody. Time skip. Kakashi Hatake was outside, on his feet, not having to use an excessive amount of his energy during the battle. He was able to come off without much chakra exhaustion. Naruto should be heading back now, Kakashi thought to himself, having trust and faith in the boy that he would return on time. However, he was surprised when he saw Naruto carrying something, making his way towards the redhead. He watches Naruto drop someone on the ground. Kakashi looked up towards the boy, surprised and confused. It's Zabuza's subordinate, said Naruto. Time skip. Naruto was situated within his mindscape. In front of him was a giant nine-tailed fox, as their gaze was focused on one another. What is happening to me? Said Naruto. Kurama looked at the boy as he spoke. When certain animals are placed in new environment, they adapt, they evolve, so they can withstand whatever comes their way in those new environments. Sometimes these things take thousands of years. For some special things, they evolve rather quickly. And you are one of those special things, he said. Naruto looked at him confused. I don't understand. Because you would not, Kurama said to him. For the most of your life, you've always focused on one thing and one thing only. Sticking to the rules. Doing. Without any emotion. Focusing on a work without any sympathy, rage, happiness. Nothing at all getting in your way. And for most of your life, you've been alone. The only one that has been here truly for you is I. While the others might think they're a big part of your life, you've closed yourself off so much that you barely took sign of any of them. And now, becoming a part of this team, placed in this new environment, even before, you knew the Uchiha, but your friendship was never much greater than seeing each other a few times. But now you spar with one another, you talk, you make jokes. Things are changing. It first happened when you thought they were dead. Your emotions were trying to come to the surface, but you spend your entire life trying to push away emotion while you're on a mission. Therefore, it caused an imbalance, which sent your mind into overdrive, knocking many things away, except for one that is greatly increased. It was your instincts. Your instincts to do whatever it takes. You wanted answers, and you weren't getting them, so you did what you thought was necessary. However, without your full conscience helping you, stopping you from holding back, there is nothing to stop you from going overboard. How do I stop it? Said Naruto. I don't think you can. Things are changing. You are changing. There has to be a solution, said Naruto. Well, if there is, it is not something I've ever experienced, so it is not something I can help you with. Kurama said, looking at Naruto, who was completely silent. Time skip. And what happened? Kakashi asks. I told him to relinquish the information on where Zabuza is located, but he refused. Struggling and trying to escape, I was forced to hurt him, said Naruto, as he looked down towards Haku. Originally, he believed that it was a girl. However, he was proven wrong. His face just looked rather feminine, not to mention the way that he dressed. However, Naruto did not care about that. What he did care about was getting information. Kakashi patched Haku up, not wanting him to bleed out and die, as his arm was now tied up in a sling. To prevent any further movements, Haku was restrained. However, slowly, he started to regain consciousness. His face was still pretty messed up, as his left eye was swollen. Upon seeing Naruto, he tried to back away. Naruto did not experience what exactly he did, but Haku experienced everything. His eyes were so cold. It seems like there was no life in them, and he just kept on bashing and bashing and bashing and bashing. Haku passed out as the pain became too much. He was unable to sustain himself anymore. He thought that he was going to die, but he was awake. However, he could not go anywhere. He was locked up. His gaze narrowed straight towards the one that put him in this situation. As Naruto looked at him, no words were said between the two. Kakashi was the one that spoke up. I presume that you know why you're here, he said. Haku still refused to say anything. Rather, to give his life then, give up Zabuza-sama. Naruto whipped out a kunai and launched it. As Kakashi turned, but Naruto already launched the weapon. But it did not hit Haku though. It hit right above his head. Yet he did not move. Kakashi turned towards Naruto. Why did you do that? He said. As he had already told him that his intention was not to kill him but to get information. Naruto stepped forward as he spoke. It doesn't matter what we do to him. He will never say a single word on where Zabuza is. As Naruto knelt down, looking directly into Haku's eyes. This relationship goes a lot deeper than just master and student. He's willing to die. He accepted his death a long time ago. It doesn't matter what we do. He won't say a single word. As Kakashi realized what Naruto's saying was correct, that was until Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out something. It was a flower. I was wondering what this was. I spoke to the woman here, Tsunami if I'm not mistaken. She told me that this could be used in a herb to heal wounds. The attack that I use, it gravely burns Zabuza, and you said it yourself. He would be out of commission for a while we train. Therefore, He's not going anywhere. And given the proximity of the land, and there is no way that they would leave to go anywhere that would last for a month or two, knowing that the bridge would be completed by then, it means Zabuza is still here on this island. There are 2 other islands surrounding this one that I've noticed when we were coming in on the boat, and they're both clean, said Naruto. Kakashi looked towards Naruto confused. And how would you know that? I've already began the search, Naruto said. As the copy ninja looked towards the boy. Time skip. Once again Kakashi was blown away. As ruthless as Naruto was, his mind was just like Minato sensei. Maybe even more. Being so young and yet, his intellect, his understanding, it was on a completely other level than Kakashi thought it was. Naruto had already dispatched 10 clones, 5 of each, to scour the 2 other islands that were mostly comprised of trees and animals. While they spread out from that area, they came back and they swamped the entire place, from the outside in, to make sure that they didn't miss anything. Having the amount of chakra that he possessed, he was one of the few people that could actually pull something like this off. That begs a question though. Given what happened with the Demon Brothers, and I see that you have no problem with killing, why did you bring him back? Kakashi said, looking towards Naruto. He was curious to understand Naruto's mindset and thinking in this area. I read about you, said Naruto. You're Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. You lost both your teammates. You also lost your sensei as well, the 4th Hokage. Kakashi did not physically react at what Naruto said. Do you mind if I ask you something? It's a bit personal. The copy ninja narrowed his one eye as he nodded his head for Naruto to go ahead. Your teammates that you lost. And the 4th Hokage, were you close? Close, Kakashi said. Yes. Outside of work. Were you friends? The copy ninja looked up. They were some of my best friends, Kakashi said, as he turned his gaze back towards Naruto, seeing a confused gaze crossing the boy's eyes. Why do you ask? People die every day, said Naruto, especially in the position that we put ourselves in. We can step out in a battle and die the next day. Isn't it pointless to make friends, knowing that you could lose people you come to care about and mentally damage you in the long run? You know, I was trying to use this mission to teach you something, but I realized that by keeping small details away from you, it won't help you but damage you, because you're different than normal children on the way you perceive things. What you're saying is something I heard about in the past. A wicked, cruel man that teach people how to suppress their emotion to the max, to become ruthless, mindless killers, without comrades, without friends, without people in your life for you to hold on to, something to give you a glimmer of hope, something to give you a reason to keep on moving. There was never any point of being a ninja. Remember, it's all about the people that you keep around you. Without the people, what is the village? Bricks, wood, stone, things. Without life, there is nothing there to support. There is no one there to protect, and none of it matters. However, having people precious to you, people that you care for, that is when you truly know that you have something to live for. As Naruto stood where he was, he started to walk off as Kakashi watched him, until he realized that Naruto was heading to where they had placed Haku. Kakashi had a real bad feeling, his lapse, his hesitation for a single moment, as he rushed inside. However, it was too late. Naruto, stop, he said, as Naruto slit his kunai across Haku's throat, his gaze looking down towards him. What have you done? Naruto turned as he faced Kakashi. We no longer need him. I know where Zabuza is. Listen to me, Naruto. I'm your sensei. And before you do things like that, you need to talk to me, said Kakashi. Naruto tilted his head as he looked at the man. Kakashi got a bad feeling, the way he was looking at him, but there was no malice. It might not seem that way, but you taught me something really great just now. I've realized that pushing away emotions and people around you is not the way to go, because it will eventually lead to my downfall. However, Naruto said, stepping forward, if I'm going to be someone that has people to know and watches back and watch theirs and vice versa, I will do everything I can to keep them safe as well, including eliminating any threats. And that thing over there, it almost killed Sakura and Sasuke. So thank you for what you've taught me, said Naruto. He started to walk as Kakashi looked at him. Kakashi had a real bad feeling. Despite him doing something to try and help Naruto, he had a terrible feeling that he did something incredibly wrong. As he watched the boy made his way, time skip. I wonder when they're coming back, Sakura said, as she was back on her feet. She had regained her strength and her health. Sasuke was nearby. I wonder what they're doing, he said. Naruto and Kakashi had went out, saying that they were going to scout the area. They're scouting, Sakura said. Sasuke doubted that though. Naruto possessed the technique to multiply himself at least 100 times. You've seen that with your own eyes. He could have simply sent the clones in his place. Why the both of them, especially at night, when they know the threat is out there? It was Sakura that was hit with the realization. Maybe there is no longer a threat, she said, looking up towards Sasuke, who narrowed his gaze. Meanwhile, both Kakashi and Naruto were looking down towards the underground section that led to the hideout that Zabuza was currently located in. Naruto's eyes were closed for the briefest second. There's something you need to know. Kakashi turned as he faced Naruto. One of the islands had a large house on it, containing multiple rooms. However, it was deserted when my clones decided to investigate. However, as we speak, there's currently 3 boats. Given the size and numbers that can be seen from my clone's advantage, there's around 200 thugs. And Gato is currently on that boat as well. From what my clones are seeing and feeling, none of them can truly put up a fight. However, their numbers are quite great. Given the destination and the movement of their ships, they're heading towards that massive mansion, said Naruto, as his gaze fixated on the copy ninja. You wanted me to tell you things before they happen. I can end this tonight, said Naruto. My clones are fully capable of ending the problem that has plagued this town for years now. And before you say anything, keep in mind that if we do build a bridge and Gato is not dead, he can simply have someone blow it up and there will be no purpose. But if we finish this tonight, they will no longer be a threat. However, you are my sensei, so give me an order, said Naruto. The copy ninja narrowed his gaze. Time skip. Zabuza moved slightly as he felt something strange. Upon opening his eyes, the last thing that he would ever see in this world was the copy ninja above him. Kakashi, standing on the ceiling, kunai in hand. Zabuza reached over to grab his blade, however, said kunai slammed into his chest, ending his life without hesitation as Kakashi flipped down. As Naruto stood there at the entrance, holding on to the massive cleaving blade, Moments later, the two could be seen leaving the hideout after disposing of the body and removing the head. There was quite the bounty that was on Zabuza's head after all. As Naruto came to a stop, Kakashi standing beside him when suddenly, boom! A violent eruption could be seen. Despite the far distance, the eruption was massive. The entire island, a good portion, maybe quarter of it, went up in a violent blast, swallowing everything in the vicinity, wiping away the mansion, wiping away the animal life as the ocean swallow it, the pieces falling away into it. Kakashi and Naruto stood there, watching the smoke going up into the sky. "It's done," said Naruto. Meanwhile, at the house, Tazuna was outside, so was Nami. In area as well as they saw the massive explosion. Sakura and Sasuke were standing close by, ready to defend them. What is that?" Nami said. They heard something rattling in the bushes. Sasuke turned his gaze as he was ready to fight. However, Naruto came walking out of the bushes. "Do not worry, it is just me," Naruto said. "Sakura, where's Sensei?" "I am not the original, I'm a clone. However, they will be here shortly." Naruto then stepped forward. "There is no longer any need to fear. Gato is dead." The two adults and the child looked towards Naruto with a shocked look on their face. He's what?" Tazuna said, wondering if he was hearing things. "That explosion is Gato, and all of his men taking their final breath. So there's no longer any need to fear anything at all," said Naruto. "Wait, what the hell is going on?" Sasuke said, stepping forward. "Is that what you and Sensei were up to? Why wasn't I involved?" As Naruto did not say anything, he just looked at him. Sasuke grabbed him by the shirt. "Answer me," he said. "The original found Zabuza apprentice and got information that was needed. The original and Sensei went to see if the threat was where it was supposed to be. Upon arriving, they neutralized it to stop any further problems from occurring. Others, like myself, were sent to man the other two islands when Gato was seen. With the opportunity in sight, I was given an order by Sensei to eliminate them, and that is what I did. So Gato is gone and the threat is neutralized. Protection was still needed just in case. You did your part rather well, both of you," said Naruto. "The family is safe. Our client is protected. Besides, we still have to stay here until the bridge is finished. During that time, I'm sure that Sensei would be more than happy to increase your training for your lack of involvement in this mission." Sasuke released Naruto's shirt. "Tuh," he said, turning his gaze away, finding the excuse rather valid, despite not being a part of the mission, which he did not like at all. As Naruto's gaze turned towards Tazuna, "Remember, in your time of need and desperation, despite the lack of funds, Konoha came through for you. They stepped up. They protected you when no other village would. Others that would have abandoned you on the street and left you to fend for yourself and die. But Konoha stepped up. Remember that. You owe us," said Naruto. With that, he poofed away. Tazuna felt a chill went down his spine. From the moment he met that kid, the damn kid scared the living daylight out of him. It was the way he spoke and his eyes, not to mention how ruthless he was. Time skip. "But this doesn't make any sense." "Why so much?" Sakura said. After receiving her payment, she had to come and check with the Hokage, as there must be some sort of mistake. The girl was honest, and she didn't want to cheat her own village. Perhaps it was a mistake that needed to be rectified. So she came to the Hokage because Kakashi was nowhere to be found. They were given 2 days off, and she did not see Naruto or Sasuke anywhere. Oh, it is no mistake, Hiruzen said. The 3 bounties that Naruto got from that mission. The Demon Brothers and Zabuza Momochi, he turned them in. However, he decided to split each of the profit equally with all of you. Sakura was surprised. Why would he do that? They didn't really do anything, her and Sasuke, on the mission. And those were Naruto's if he did take them down. Hiruzen simply smiled, a good gesture of fate, to show how committed he is to his team and his friendship with you all. As she thought about it, she never thought to think about the word friendship. Things were just okay, but maybe they were indeed friends. They spent the following weeks at the Land of Wave. And they spoke, they trained together, and yeah, they were indeed friends. And that made her smile, as Hiruzen realized that things were going along well for Team 7. Not only that though, he handed Naruto something very dangerous and something very powerful, in the hopes of Naruto being able to modify it to help him. The problem was, it did not belong to them, and it could start an incident. However, given what the child had said, Hiruzen had full faith that he would be able to do it. It was a blade that belonged to Zabuza. Naruto asked for the blade. The metal was extremely rare and powerful, and special as well. It was a spoil of a mission. While Hiruzen could have taken the weapon and bring it to their weapons department, he decided to have faith in Naruto, who says that he can make the blade unrecognizable, and he wanted to use it. Given all the good things that Hiruzen had heard from Kakashi with Naruto with this mission, and how Team 7 was flowing, Hiruzen decided to be generous and allow the boy to keep the weapon. However, he will have final say after Naruto finished with his little side project. It always bothered him that he neglected to focus so much on Naruto that he had no idea just how talented and intelligent the boy truly was. While Naruto had knowledge on forgery, the one that would be actually working with the blade will have to be sworn into secrecy after all. They couldn't allow this information to get out. It might cause some future unrest with Kiri, so Hiruzen was going to allow it to die out. Time skip. Sasuke Uchiha was currently on the ground as he was struggling to get to his feet. His body seemed battered and bruised. He looked up as he saw a massive jet of water shooting towards him, jumping down in front of him, flowing through hand sign earth style. She slammed her hand down and erected the earth wall. Sakura gritted her teeth as the wall was being broken and destroyed from the other side. However, she kept it sustained, looking rather exhausted as well. A hand broke through the wall. However, she jumped upwards, dodging said hand. Placing her hand on the wall, she brought her foot down, but it was caught. But she wasn't done yet as she whipped out a kunai and thrust it forward. The man slapped it out of her hand. He lifted her before slamming her down in her wall, causing her to scream out in pain. Now that she was on the ground motionless, he reached down to grab her. Yet, her eyes snapped open. She pulled on a wire. Said wire was attached to another kunai that stuck right into his side. Because he moved, it would have went into his head. He snarled. He ripped it out before grabbing the girl as he started to choke the life out of her. In that moment, Sasuke was struggling to get to his feet, being bruised and battered as he watched the life was being drained away from Sakura, but he couldn't allow her to die. What was the point of this training, pushing himself so hard if he couldn't save the people close to him? Feeling a rush, Sasuke got up, delivering a brutal kick, knocking away their opponent as Sakura dropped down to the ground, coughing hysterically. Sasuke's eyes were now showing the immaculate Sharingan, two totem in each of his eyes. Without a word, he thrust forward. He dodged under the first blow. He weaved under the second, a kunai in his hand as he thrust upwards. Yet the man brought down such an unbearable force. Sasuke jumped away though. The person was just too fast as he met Sasuke in mid-air. Their fists clashing as Sasuke was overpowered and thrown. He hit the ground next to Sakura pretty hard. Despite his newly awakened Sharingan, his body was too exhausted and weak to keep up, but at least he saved her life. As the person started to approach, "Suyen!" a voice shouted. Behind the two children were a man known as Shibuki. Things had went to hell pretty quickly. Team 7 was given a mission to head towards the land of Waterfall. Upon arriving there, word was sent back for Kakashi to return for an important meeting, discussing some rather important topics. The Chunin exams was involved. However, Shibuki decided to hire the team once again when he saw the children clean up against a waterfall. Kakashi allowed them there, believing that they could handle this. The village was attacked though. Shibuki, he watched as his former sensei arrived. Suyen did not believe Shibuki was justified in taking the title, believing that he did not live up to his family's name. Believing that he did not deserve it. Just because his father was a leader doesn't mean that he should be it. A battle then enthralled between all of them. Suyen had help, a lot of help. So the group was forced to split up during a massive explosion, causing Sakura and Sasuke to face off against three of the top members of the group. However, with Shibuki there, they were able to take them down when they came across Suyen. Unfortunately though, he drank the hero water, which enveloped his entire body and boosts his chakra output crazily, turning him into a monster. And he did not even drink all of it. Sasuke got back to his feet slowly, as Sakura was still rubbing her throat in pain. However, Sasuke refused to fall. Suyen stepped forward. "You kids nowadays believe in that. You have enough power to face something that is completely out of your league. You truly are delusional, but there's no need to worry. I will make your death swift. After all, I have other business to conduct," he said with a smirk on his face. "I won't allow you to touch them," Shibuki said. Suyen simply scoffed. "Of all the training you received from me, yet you still stand there and believe that you are capable of doing anything in this situation. I must say, you have truly disappointed me as my former student." He looked at Sasuke, those eyes. "To think I was facing the last Uchiha of Konoha. Well, I guess it's about time to make your bloodline extinct," he said. When Sasuke suddenly smirked, "It seems you finally accepted your fate and lost your mind in the process." Yet the smirk did not leave Sasuke's face. Suyen soon realized what was going on as he felt something. For the briefest moments, he tried to move, but he was unable to. The speed that came upon him was so ferocious, and the force was so violent. His body bounced across the ground at least several times. Boom! He slammed into a wall, rather roughly cracking into it. Shibuki's eyes went wide, wondering if the Jonin was back. His people were currently occupied, fighting all of the rogues within the village square. Not to mention, all of his top lieutenants and people were currently behind that wall, stopping any from getting past. The only person that could get past was a Jonin against Suyen's men. It has to be. However, he was surprised when he saw that it was the other boy. Not seeing him here, he thought that he failed, and he was overcome by the other forces and taken down, but no, there he was. Shibuki looked at his hand. This sensation that he was feeling, just from looking at this child, something felt off. Sasuke stood there. Took you long enough, he said, looking at Naruto. As Naruto's right hand had droplets of blood on it, as he was gripping a blade in his hand. His shirt had splatter of blood on it. So was his face as well. As he's been through something rather hectic a moment ago. Are you two alright? Naruto asked. We'll live, Sasuke said, helping Sakura up. This guy, he's no joke, Sasuke said. Naruto looked over to where the corpses of Suya and other people lay. Don't worry, he said. I'll handle the rest. Naruto, Sakura rasped out. Be careful. He merely nodded his head as he stepped forward. Suyin looked at him confused. How did you get past my people? He said, as he was massaging his chin, where Naruto had hit him. If it wasn't for the water coursing through his veins amplifying his chakra, he was sure that his chin would have been broken off. Just what kind of monster was this kid, he thought. They tried to stop me from entering this area, said Naruto. So I had to kill them. Suyin blinked in confusion. That's not possible. Given their numbers and their skill, you wouldn't have been able to take them down. Where are your support and your allies? I was the only one that made it that far. The others are busy fighting your weaklings within the village parameters. However, your top members were guarding this wall rather well, not wanting anyone to pass. So I slaughtered them all. Suyin clenched his fists. You're lying. I personally trained each and every one of them. A brat like you would have never gotten past them. Let's not do this, said Naruto. I'm not here to talk to you. I'm not here to discuss anything. You hurt my friends. The only thing I'm here to do is to kill you. Naruto dashed forward as Suyin roared, charging in as well. Suyin brought down an incredible force as he punched out. However, Naruto's body twists, weave, dodge, jump, leap. His body was moving on its own. His incredible training off, placing his mind in one particular place to focus on one subject, while his body did the rest, was paying off. Suyin started to curse as he released a powerful force of his chakra, trying to blow Naruto away, but Naruto's speed alone was able to outpace literal chakra as he jumped back, holding the blade in his hand. The blade that was once Zabuza Momochi blade. However, it was different. The handle was grey. It had a curve to it. A perfect fit as Naruto held it, able to sustain the weight with one hand, as the blade had been immensely trimmed down. It curved outwards, giving a good slicing or stabbing motion, having a black tinted blade. The material that was used to make Zabuza blade intertwined with another because of the resourcefulness and the ability to recover by absorbing blood, the iron from one's blood. As Naruto prepared himself, he threw the blade in the air and blurred through handslide. Wind style, he said, gale force. The place howled as the wind came down with a fury. Suyin, on the other hand, thrust his fist outwards, his chakra turning into pure water, curling and twisting before, manipulating into a literal dragon as he held the hand sign upwards. The technique shot outwards as they clashed. Naruto was above it, as he could be seen descending downwards as he swiped. However, Suyin blocked it with his own blade. Suyin smirked as his blade wrapped around Naruto. His blade was made from water after all. He pulled Naruto close and drive a brutal fist in his guts. He then snapped Naruto's head upwards with a brutal uppercut. He grabbed him by the leg and bashed him in the ground. He then picked him up and kicked him. Naruto bounced across the ground, before slamming into the same wall that he threw Suyin in earlier. Suyin turned as he started to approach. I'll kill your friends right here in front of you for what you did to my people. And then I'll snuff your life away. Naruto slowly rose to his feet despite what he was just put through. As he spat, blood dripping from his mouth, a clone was situated where his blade landed. It caught said blade and threw it. As Naruto reached out and grabbed his blade out of the air, he then lowered his stance, his eyes closed as he took a breath. He had no choice. Wind style. Ghost step. Naruto muttered under his breath. The next moment, Suyin cried out. His right arm was completely cleaved off. Shock resonating through his face and every part of his body. What the hell? Shibuki said, holding on to his wound. He didn't even see the kid move. Over towards Naruto. Naruto could not put any pressure down on his left foot because it was shot. Every single point of it was agony. That technique that he just used was one of his own creation. After seeing a technique known as the ghost movement, a wind style technique to allow you to move without leaving any sound, allow you to glide like a ghost, along with the boost in speed, but Naruto combined that with another called the flash step, creating the ghost step, allowing him to move with the incredible speed and without a sound as well. The problem was, it was something that he's recently been working on, and there was a 50-50% chance that he wouldn't do it as perfectly as he thought. And he did not. Right as he reached his opponent, his leg gave out and he stepped wrong. The pain was unbearable, yet he held it in. And he missed. Instead of his head, he cut his arm off. And now his leg was unable to even move. Any weight that he placed on it was pure agony, yet Naruto masked his pain. Suyin roared out as he gripped the remainder of the hero water and downed it. Shibuki's eyes went wide. I'll kill you! I'll kill you! He shouted. His pride was humiliated. He was pissed. He was angry. He started to gather all of his chakra with the sole intention of wiping Naruto away from the face of the earth. Run away! Shibuki shouted, knowing what was going to come. Suyin poured out his power and release a gigantic wave. It shot outwards as Naruto pulled off his highest defensive technique, wind style. The massive wind dome surrounded him. The two opposing forces started to clash. Sasuke hunkered down as he held on to Sakura. As a place, everything was being blown back. Everything was being thrown away. It was chaotic. It was violent. As Naruto was struggling as a technique was starting to pierce through his face getting wet, his hand getting wet, his legs, and he could not even move one of his legs. His eyes started to see it. 2.5. 2.5. Kid. The voice of Kurama entered his mind. It's time, he said. No, said Naruto. I won't waste your chakra on trash like this. 2.5 seconds. I'll just have to go a lot faster. As Naruto banged himself, as he pushed past the pain despite his mind feeling like it was going to collapse, he pushed past it. Once again, Naruto waited. He dropped his technique. Wind style. Ghost step. 2.5 seconds there was an interval as the water spiraled outwards. There was 2.5 seconds where the water lessened before, returning back with a force. As Suyin kept on pumping it out, it did not completely go away yet. Naruto split through it. The water slamming down on his shoulders as he kept his arms tucked at his side, but the pressure was bearable. Suyin's eyes went wide as everything stopped. Naruto appeared a few feet behind him, when suddenly Naruto collapsed down to the ground, both of his legs a mess. as he went faster than he ever wanted to go using the ghost step. And in doing so, he messed up both of his legs. They would heal, but it would take a while. So he in turn, as both Sakura and Sasuke, despite their injuries, were moving towards Naruto. However, Suyin suddenly stopped as blood started to gush from his neck. His eyes rolled back and his head fell clean off. His body crumbled like dirt. All life released out of him. It was a few seconds after that, all of the weak level thugs were rounded up, as all the people, the ninjas from this village, arrived to see. All of the other high level ones that were guarding the wall were dead. Kakashi Hatake arrived as well, confused and worried. However, upon arriving, he saw both Sakura and Sasuke helping Naruto up, his arm around their shoulders, as he could not move his legs. However, they were helping him up. Kakashi had no idea what happened here, but given the look on the three of their faces, they've been through hell. But not only did they walk out, they conquered it and came out better for it. And that made him eye smile. Time skip. 4 months later, Sakura Haruna was looking at herself within a full body mirror, dressed in her training clothing, as her arms were more pronounced and more lean as well. Her stomach had gotten a lot more flat, and she could see the outline of her abs as well. Her body had taken a drastic change from what it once was. So had her hair. She had cut her hair. It was a hindrance in battle. She couldn't believe how things have changed to what she was 6 months ago, before joining Team 7 and that mission to Land of Waterfall, where she killed someone for the first time. And that wasn't the last now. For the first time, she could truly say that she understood what it meant to be a kunoichi, to fight for your village, to fight for your comrades, to fight for your friends. Team 7 had come a long way since. The three of them pushing each other, growing as a team. It made her look back to how embarrassing and rather corny it was, to how she used to behave around Sasuke. And now he was a good teammate of hers, to the point that the both of them could sit down and have a full conversation without either of them acting strange. And Naruto, he has become one of her best friends. She had no idea when the both of them had become so close, but they have. And now, the Chunin exams were coming up. If it was 6 months ago, she would say that she wasn't ready. But after what they were told yesterday by Kakashi, she was certain that she was ready for it. To step up, to make another step in her career. Yes, she was ready. Meanwhile, Sasuke Uchiha stood in one of the training ground of the Uchiha compounds, having conquered this feeling to enter this home once again. 2 months ago, Sasuke stood in one of the elite training grounds. There were 10 targets and each of them had a kunai directly in the center of them all, and his Sharingan wasn't even activated. He looked down toward his fist as he clenched it, ready for the challenges ahead. And with Naruto, Uzumaki, there has to be another way, Kurama said. As Naruto was currently sitting down, in front of him was a clone. Said clone was bandaging Naruto's hand, as his hands were bloody and a mess. I need to make them stronger. Every single part of myself. Just as sharp as my blade and as strong as my blade, Naruto said. Still, mutilating yourself is not a good thing to do. All heal, said Naruto. And it's not like my efforts aren't paying off. As the clone finished, he dispelled as Naruto got to his feet. I have 3 days till the tuning exams. I have no idea what it entails or who I'll be up against. However, I am not going to fail. As Naruto was standing in Training Ground 12, ahead of him was a massive steel. It was large. It was a piece of steel that was seemingly connected to a part of a building, given a wide proximity. Inside of that steel was dents. So many dents. As it seems like it was almost broken through. I know you're there, Naruto said, without even turning. I had heard that you were a censor. I'm impressed. Stepping out of the foliage was a man. As his body was seemingly damaged in the past, one of his eyes were covered. One of his arms as well. Who are you? Said Naruto. Never seen this person before. My name is not important right now. However, I do have something for you. Reaching into his robes, as Naruto gazed narrowed dangerously. Do not fear. It is nothing to harm you, he said. He tossed Naruto a scroll. Naruto gazed fixated on the thing as it was in mid-ear. The man seemed rather impressed as Naruto caught it. Calculating and smart, the man said with a tiny little smirk. Open it. Why should I trust you when you refuse to give me your name? The man turned his back as he started to walk away. It will help you in the long run. I've been watching your progress, and I have to say, I'm interested. With that, he made his way off, leaving Naruto with a scroll. Naruto unraveled said scroll as he looked inside of it. Naruto was surprised. What the hell? There were 2 powerful A-rank techniques. Wing style, bordering S-line. Depends on the user chakra. And there was a very powerful lightning technique. As Naruto looked at the scroll once again, he looked up and the man was nowhere to be seen. Who the hell was that? Naruto asked himself. You know yourself that nothing in this world is really free. Kurama whispered to Naruto. Yeah, so whoever he is, he wants something, Naruto said. As he looked at the techniques, his eyes memorizing everything on the scroll. As Danzo Shimura was making his way, that boy had piqued his interest some time ago. And the boy had not dropped it, not even once. By himself, the boy has become a force to be reckoned with. His missions, everything that he had to do so far, were nothing but immaculate. Out of many that has come across his path, one that he had nothing to do with and nothing to change his life. Danzo. See a true shinobi in that boy. A ruthless shinobi. One that has his morals but wasn't afraid to slaughter for the betterment of his comrades and his village. That boy had so much promise and so much potential. And in these upcoming exams, the whole world will be looking at him once he participates. Things are just about to get started, Danzo thought with a smirk. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.